Please adhere to YouTube's selected guidelines before viewing the content of this video. I do not encourage or condone any products, actions, or behaviors shown in this video. All videos are produced in a safe, professional, and controlled environment. Please do not attempt to replicate any actions performed during video. All actions are performed by professionals. Alrighty, so today I am going to be doing some experimental art where I draw some really tall monsters in an experimental watercolor style. That is the plan, at least. First off, before I go ahead and actually watercolor paint the very tall monsters, I am, of course, going to draw them with my Pencil Graph Gear 500 0.5mm lead size mechanical pencil, and then after that, I'm going to go ahead and actually watercolor paint the experimental monsters in today's video. I'm going to be using a Winsor & Newton travel watercolor set, which I think is pretty good. I've got a little bit of experience with this set so far, and so far it has been fantastic. And then after I watercolor paint the experimental monsters, I am going to be going back over all of the lines that I previously made with my mechanical pencil with my Sharpie S gel pen, just to make the drawing look a little bit more distinct than not. And if I mess up any of the lines today with my mechanical pencil, I am going to be using my pencil click eraser to fix those lines. But I do think without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and move these off of the piece of paper. I'm going to go ahead and get some lead out of my pencil, and now I'm going to go ahead and, well, get right to, well, I do suppose actually the topic of this video, which is, well, doing some which is like drawing and watercolor painting some experimental monsters. So I'm going to go ahead and get right into it. So I'm just going to go ahead and do one like up here. So I'm just going to do that. And I think I'm going to do another one right here. And I think I'm going to do another one right here. And I'm going to try to have these guys not be too small because I do want there to be enough space for me to watercolor. And then I'm going to put another guy a little bit down here. And I'm going to have another guy right here. And there we go. I think that should be plenty fine. I don't think I'm going to do any more than that. So now I'm just going to go ahead and add the faces. I'm just going to do the nose first. And these guys are all going to have the same face. I typically like all of my sort of like characters, when I'm doing like a bunch of characters on one page, I like them all to have the same face. So all of these guys are all going to have the same face as well. So I'm just going to get all of the eyes, and the faces are not going to be particularly detailed. I don't really want them to be particularly detailed because I feel like it's just too much kind of thing. I don't feel like them being particularly detailed because I just, well, don't want them to be. And then the mouths are just going to go right below the nose just like that, and it's just going to stretch across the head entirely like that, looking like a Canadian from South Park. And now let's go ahead and just add the legs and arms. So I'm just going to have both of the legs come down like this. I'm trying to keep the legs as close as possible, and then I'm doing the exact same thing with the arms, just trying to keep the arms as close as possible to just try to exemplify how tall and how lanky these characters are. That really is the goal. So let's just go ahead and bring that one down as well, and then this one just like this. And once I'm done with all of the arms and whatnot, I am going to go ahead and start watercolor painting all of these characters. I am going to be watercolor painting all of these characters in black today. I'm going to be doing the, try to be doing the exact same shade of black on all of them. But at the same time, I'm also not going to be trying to do the exact shade of black on all of them. The exact same shade of black on all of them. Oh man, I'm getting words just a little bit jumbled up. Just simply because I want the watercolor to be looking like it's messed up, like I don't know how to do watercolor, but in fact, I actually do know how to do watercolor kind of thing, when in fact I actually don't. I'm not very, I know the basic concepts around watercolor, wet on wet, dry on wet, all that sort of stuff. I know all that. I'm just not very good at watercolor painting, but I kind of like the look of incorrect watercolor painting. I'm a big fan of the look. In all honesty, like kind of like splotchy watercolor painting. I'm a huge fan of how it looks, and that's what I'm going to be trying to do with these characters today. Now, I'm not going to be watercolor painting the background or anything like that. I'm just going to be watercolor painting the characters, not the legs or anything like that, just the actual heads of the characters. That is the plan for today. But nonetheless, that is pretty much what I'm going to be trying to do. And I did mess that up a little bit, but that's perfectly fine. Oh, that's why I'm messing up. I ran out of lead. Can y'all believe me? I didn't even notice. I did not even notice. This mechanical pencil is great, though. I really, really, really do like it. I'm a pretty big fan of this mechanical pencil. I've had it for years. I had a one before this, and the only reason I don't use that one anymore, I still have it around here somewhere, but the only reason I don't use that one anymore is just simply put because I dropped it. And, well, what happened when I dropped it on, I want to say concrete, and I bent the little nib right here. So then lead doesn't come out anymore. Completely my fault. Not any fault of the pencil itself. Completely my fault. But since I've had this one for the last couple years, I want to say, I think I filled it up once with lead. I have had no issues with it. It's been great, and it is definitely one of my favorite mechanical pencils. It's very heavy towards the tip, which is really nice. I'm not really like a super big fan of super light, like stuff like this is way too light for my preference, but it is overall a very good pen that I really do like, and it doesn't smear very much, which is why I like using it. But it's definitely not heavy enough to be to my preference. Whereas this mechanical pencil is very heavy, and I really do like it. Although I will admit it could be heavier. And if I'm able to find a heavier mechanical pencil at the roundabout the same quality, I think I might have to just consider picking that up. I'm going to go and do all the feet now that I've done all the hands. So I'm just going to have the feet coming all like out like that. Excuse me. Just like that. There we go. So they're all just standing there kind of thing. And now I think it is time for me to go ahead and start watercolor painting. So what I am going to do first off is I'm going to get one of my brushes out. I'm going to be using a Fundamentals Creative Mark 6 shader brush. I have no clue what the 6 shader means, but this is indeed Fundamentals Creative Mark brand. It is pretty much the cheapest watercolor brush I could get at my local art store. Certainly no complaints on my behalf, that is for sure. It's been pretty good though. I really do like it. This one, this one right here, the metal part came off, but it still works just fine. I've already got some water in my cup right here. I'm going to go ahead and open up my watercolor set, and I'm going to go ahead. Hopefully this doesn't fall over. It likes to fall over like that. And it's so annoying. I don't know why it does that. How can I fix that? How can I make it not like fall over? It's so annoying. Like, I know this is probably for mixing and stuff, but like, can I put on that and then the lid wants to close? Oh man, it's so, how do I just make it stay open? How can I make it stay open? So annoying. I just want it. Oh, is that why? Oh, that's why, because this, okay. I just realized why it likes to close on itself. Makes sense, makes sense. Okay, well, let's try to do, I don't know, bro. I just want this to stay open without falling over. Whatever. I'm just gonna put this back. It is what it is. If it falls over, I don't care. Okay, it's actually annoying me. This is my one complaint with this watercolor set so far, is that it really likes to fall over, and that is very annoying. Let's go ahead and get some water on my brush, though. Let's go ahead and grab some black. And let's go ahead and just start off with, I think, this character right here. So I'm going to be doing wet on dry today, and I'm just going to be doing a base layer real quick, and then I'm going to go over and add more color later on. I am going to be trying to avoid the eyes, but the rest of the circle right here I don't care about. It's only the eyes I really care about getting any color in. So I'm just doing the base coat right now, and I don't really care about getting outside of the circle a little bit either. It's not too big of a deal for me. And as you guys can tell, I am really not caring about doing this properly or anything like that kind of thing. It's not a concern of mine. I just want the base layer right now. And any other sort of details or anything like that will come later. I want it to look messy. I want it to look, oh, so hipster, so experimental. That is the goal. And I do feel like I am somewhat accomplishing that right now. Let's go and move on to the next one, though. I'm just going to do these in order just like that. And then I'm going to go back over and do some more layers on them. I'm just going to start in the middle this time. Just go from top to bottom, and now I'm going to move side to side, which is probably the way to go, in all honesty. Just like that. And now let's go ahead and do this one right here. And I'm really liking how these are turning out so far. Kind of blotchy, not really too much, like sort of even coloration, and that's exactly what I want. I do not want even coloration from these characters. I want it to be messy. I want it to not be neat. That's exactly what I want, because that's what hipsters love when they're trying to buy experimental art. And I'm trying to make experimental art that hipsters would love. That is the goal. Oopsies, I messed that up a little bit. That's okay, though. It's not too big a deal. I am, real quick, just going to do some color lift on this area right here. Just as much as I can. There we go. Almost back to perfect. Almost back to normal. This one definitely needs some darker shades. Perfect. Let's do this final one now. Now, I've done this previously, of course. I did this actually yesterday, where I watercolor painted a fish in this sort of experimental, sort of messed up watercolor type of style, which I actually really am a big fan of. And while I do feel like the fish definitely turned out better than these, I also have not gone over these in pen yet, which I think will just exemplify them even more and make them look better. And I also haven't done multiple layers on these like the fish. I think I did like 3 or 4 layers. This is only the first layer on each of these characters. And this one has dried, this one has dried, this one has dried, and these two are now drying. And so now I think it's time for me to go ahead and start doing some more layers on each of the characters. So I'm just gonna go ahead and just start adding some more dark areas in there. Just start adding some more and whatnot, and just leaving some light areas, putting some more dark areas on there. That's pretty much the goal. And then I'm also going to do some color lifting in a moment. Where I lift some colors and try to make them brighter, if I can. Alrighty, so I'm going to go ahead and start off with this side, and I'm going to try to lift some colors like right there. Just take some of the pigment off. Oopsies. Trying to color lift, and then I just instinctively went for the black. It is what it is. And that's now color lift. So this area right here. Alrighty. Well, all of that is pretty wet right now. I'm just going to stand up and just take a look at all of it. What am I thinking so far? What am I thinking? It's looking very blotchy. Some of the areas I'm not so happy with. So some of the areas I definitely do want to fix up, I think. Like specifically this one right here. Not super happy with that. I am going to just spread that out just a little bit. It just felt too distinct. And I'm going to go ahead and spread this one out as well. Not using a lot of pressure right now, just kind of chilling. And I'm just going to spread this out as well. Just let it dry a little bit quicker. Just kind of spread it out. Not really trying to do any sort of like color lifting right now. Just trying to spread out the water just so it's not as distinct as it was. I'm actually going to add some color right here as well, just to give it a little bit more variation. I'm going to do the same right here. Just kind of give it a little bit. Okay, so here's a light patch, here's a dark patch, all of that. This one right here is pretty good. Not really liking how this is looking up here though, so I'm just gonna have that come down. Just like that. And I'm not really liking that either, so I'm gonna go and fix that as well. It's the best I can. There we go. All right, so I think all of these are all pretty much good. I'm pretty happy with how they are turning out so far. I think that's pretty much what I want. I've just got to let these guys dry. I'm not sure whether I'm actually done or not, but I am just going to go ahead and start adding some of the details. I'm just going to go ahead and start adding the arms and whatnot while I'm waiting for the watercolor to dry, just to go ahead and just get this out of the way, because I'm not just going to wait around and chat and do nothing while I'm waiting for everything to dry. So I'm just going to go right about there just so no water is going to get anywhere near the pen or anything like that. And I'm just going to go and handle the legs and the arms of all of these characters just to go ahead and just get it done. Kind of looks like he's wearing pants now, I ain't gonna lie. I guess I could just do this and then just have the rest be pencil, and that would be even more experimental, but I'm not doing that. I don't like the look of that. And I did start on the right, but I should have started on the left in all honesty. And I'm going to go back over all of these lines and make them all thicker in the future as well. But I'm just getting the base layer done right now. I'm just going to take a sip of water real quick. 2 more characters to add pants to, and then I'm all done with that. But no, so far I'm liking how these characters are turning out. It's kind of blotchy. A little bit too much so right here. That's a little bit too blotchy for my personal liking. Some of these guys are definitely a little bit too blotchy. I'm going to definitely go ahead and just try to fix this guy right here and just make it less blotchy if I can. Just go over really, really, really hard and just try to make it less blotchy, make it blend in just a little bit better. Like towards the edges, I'm not worried about it being blotchy, but I don't want it to be blotchy right in the middle. That could just disrupt the piece of art. And that's not what I want. Like this coat sort of blotchy. It's kind of like blended blotchy. I like that. But this blotchy, nope, I'm not allowing that to happen. Not on my art. Like this blotchy, like towards the edges, that's okay. But this blotchy right here, not happening. I don't like blotchy right in the middle of my piece of art. It's not happening. Color lift, color lift, color lift. Blotchy, no way in hell. You ain't blotching on me, bitch. There we go. If it's smooth blotching, I ain't got no issue with it. I ain't got no issue with smooth blotching. But the blotching like this, nah, not happening. Go away. Go away. There we go. I'm going to actually color lift right here, too. I am going to color lift a little bit on this guy as well. Just like that. All right, so there we go. I think that's looking a lot better now. So I am actually going to, this guy does not really match. His edges are a little bit more harsh than the edges of the rest of the character. So I am just going to go over all of that real quick and just pick up some of that pigment that he has on him. Just color lift it a little bit just to make it a little bit less distinct compared to the other characters. There we go. And I'm just now going to pick up some of the water too. Alrighty, I'm going to go and finish these 2 characters off now. Or their legs, that is. I think that should probably be the layers I want, though. I think that should be good. I feel like because the area of the monsters is just so much smaller than the fish I've done previously. And if you guys haven't seen that video, of course, go check it out. But I'm trying to explain in-depth enough where if you guys don't want to see it, you guys don't have to. But with that fish, the surface area of it was definitely quite a bit bigger than these individual circles right here. And for that reason, I could do a lot more strokes and I could make it blotchy in different ways. But with this smaller detail, it definitely is a little bit harder to do than not, I will admit. But it's not terrible or anything like that kind of thing. And I am definitely still more happy with this than not. And I think I'm going to be way happier with it once I actually get everything done in pen. So certainly no complaints on my behalf. But no, I'm really enjoying doing the whole sort of monochrome, like watercolor look. I think it's a fantastic look, and I don't know if it's a look that's common. I don't know if people do it a lot, like a whole sort of like monochrome, like watercolor look, but I really like how it comes out. And I love looking at watercolor in general. And watercolor colors, of course, are beautiful. I think watercolor colors are beautiful. But I think for more my sort of art, I really enjoy doing monochrome stuff, like black and white, black and gray, all that sort of stuff. That's really my favorite to do. It's just a personal preference. And whenever I do any of my characters in some sort of like bright color, unless it's one of my fish work in bright colors pretty well. But anytime I do like a character like one of these guys in like some bright color, it just does not turn out the way I want, not the way I envisioned. I'm just kind of like, it just doesn't, it's just not what I want kind of thing. But these guys are definitely turning out more so like I want than not, that is for sure. And I think it might be due to the monochromatic nature of them. So certainly no complaints on my behalf, that is for sure. A lot of these guys are still too wet to really go over with pen. Yeah, so I might just let them dry for a little bit longer and finish off all of the details for the legs and whatnot. But I will start working on the actual pen details for them. I think I am all done with all of the actual details I want to do for the characters though. So no biggie, I've just got to let them dry now. So I'm just going to go ahead and start adding. Is this guy dry? More so than not, I can go and attach the pen to his body. And I'm just going to go ahead and start doing that. And then after that, I'm going to go ahead and do a second layer on all of the legs, just to wait for everything to dry out. So there we go. This guy is mostly dry, but I'm going to still be trying to be a little bit careful to avoid hitting him with my hand. Oh, that was really wet. Whoopsies. I did not mean to do that. I did not mean to do that at all. Let's try to be careful. I might move that and move this and move this just for the moment, and I might just go at this upside down. Just because it'll be... Can y'all still see that? Y'all can still see that. Okay. Just because it'll be easier for me to get to. And I can flip it back because this one's no issue now. There we go. All right, and now that it's done, it shouldn't be an issue anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and move everything back where it was. Just like that. And now I'm going to go ahead and start doing the secondary layer on all of the legs. And then after that, once all of these guys dry, I think this guy's dry, this guy's mostly dry, so I can go ahead and do those two guys. But these four guys are all still a little bit wet, so I'm just going to wait on them. But first off, before I do anything, I am just going to go ahead and do the second layer on these legs, just to make them a little bit more distinct, a little bit thicker, a little bit more easy to view and whatnot. And I'm going to go and do the same thing on, well, I just did it on one of the arms, but I'm going to do the same thing on the legs, of course. And then after that, I'm going to go and start working on the heads of all of the characters. And if they're still not dry by the time I'm done with these two guys, I am probably just going to get up and go do something for a couple minutes until they do dry. But I expect they, hopefully, at least, will be done. And it's very therapeutic, kind of just a repetitious task. Certainly can't complain. Very, very, very therapeutic. Very much enjoying doing this right now. It's not so repetitious where it's annoying. I've done drawings very similar to this one where I'm literally drawing like 10, if not over 10 of these guys. And at that point, it just gets to be too much. Like, I'm just kind of like, okay, I could do like 3, 4, 5 maybe 6 at a time. I'm doing 6 right now. But like doing like 10 or 12 of them, I'm just kind of like, man, I gotta take a break. I can't do this kind of thing. And while I do want to do like an absolutely massive piece of paper, just like, whew, absolutely just huge kind of thing, I really want to do a huge one, that would be like a multi-day endeavor. I do not have the patience to sit there for hours and hours and hours. Like a 1 hour drawing for me is really long, really long. I do not have the patience to just sit there and do art for hours and hours and hours. I love to do art. I'm not that much of a patient person. I have to get up and go do stuff or something like that kind of thing. I'm just not that much of a patient person. Or I do suppose I am. I can sit there and watch TV for hours on end, but when it comes to art, I just do not sit there for a long time. Alrighty, I'm just going to stand up real quick and just take a look. What am I thinking? What am I thinking? I'm thinking these guys are turning out pretty good. I'm pretty happy with these guys. I ain't gonna lie. I think I'm going to be even more happy with them once I actually do the pen on the heads. Certainly no complaints on my behalf. I am definitely pretty happy with how these guys are turning out, that is for sure. Inconsistent shading, inconsistent coloring, inconsistent blotching. I love it. It's super hipster, and of course, I'm going to call it experimental, because that's what hipsters want to see, right? Is this actually dry? Oh, much more dry than not. Can't complain. I'm still going to be careful, though. I'm just going to do the upper ones of these first, just to go ahead and get that upper level out of the way. And so I can bring my hand down. Oh, did I even do this arm? I didn't even do this arm. What am I doing? What am I doing? This arm has clearly not been done. I almost forgot about it. How's my ink doing? I use this pen all the time. I do wonder. Oh, is it this cap or is it? I can't remember. There we go. I figured it out. Oh wow, I'm definitely lower than I was at the beginning. That's for sure. I use this pen all the time. Makes sense. Glad it's not super low though. Super low. Stance car pen gang. That was a terrible joke. I apologize. So I just need to do the rest of this leg, I think. Yeah. And I just need to do this. And then this guy one more time. And there we go. Alrighty, perfect, perfect. I am now going to go ahead and take a sip of water. And now I think it's time for me to go ahead. Some of these are still kind of damp. Well, I think I'm done watercolor painting, so I'm going to move everything that has to do with watercolor paint off of this little area right here so I can move the page around at free will, or with free will. I am real quick just going to grab my brush, though, and go ahead and dry it off, just so I can just go ahead and put it back without having to forget about it later, because knowing me, I would probably forget about it later, and it would sit in the cup all night. And actually, probably not, but it is a possibility. I'm going to go and toss this in the trash. Don't need any more. And now I'm going to go ahead and start off on the right with the first head. I think I'm going to go ahead and just slide this around like that, and I'm just going to start it off like this. Actually, it might be easier to do it like this, in all honesty. And I'm going to be doing another secondary layer on all of the lines of the face itself. I'm done with the legs, thankfully. The legs are definitely one of the more time-consuming bits of this sort of style drawing for me. But once the faces have the base layer on, everything will come very quickly afterwards, so I cannot complain. I am impatient, that is for sure. This guy's actually too even for my taste, but I don't care. I'm not going back over him with any more watercolor. Alrighty, so now I'm going to go ahead and start with the facial features. I think I'm going to do the eyes first. And then now I'm going to go ahead and do the nose. And then next up is the mouth. I'm going to go and just put the page sideways, and I'm just going to start up here. And then I'm just going to do one more layer on everything, and this drawing will be done. Alrighty, so I'm going to go ahead and do, just taking a look real quick. I am very happy with how all of these are turning out. I really, really, really like this. I ain't gonna lie, I'm a huge fan of how all of these guys have turned out. I really like the simple faces. I really like the lack of watercolor in the eyes. I feel like it makes the eyes pop, especially when compared to their bodies. I really like the background. I really like, I said, the lack of detail in the faces, but then the kind of like really close together legs. This is exactly how I envisioned this turning out, and I am very, very, very satisfied with it. No complaints on my behalf, y'all. I am super satisfied with how this is turning out right now. I am really, really, really happy with this. I really like this sort of a style of watercolor painting that I've been doing for the last 2 videos, and I think I might just have to stick with it. I think I might just have to stick with it and just continue doing this sort of style. I mean, like, I know I'm technically not doing watercolor right, but I don't care. I really like how it looks. And as long as it looks how I like it, it doesn't really matter if I'm doing it right or not. And after all, it's art. It's all subjective, right? There is no, well, there is technically a right and wrong with art, but it's more of a gray area than not. Like, should you use acrylic paint on a brick wall? I mean, like, probably not, but you can. Sure, it would give you an interesting look. Let's see. Just like that. And I think I want to make all of the lines a little bit thicker towards the bottom as well, just to give them all a little bit more weight to their heads and everything like that. I think that's kind of what I want to do. Just add some more detail towards the bottom of the heads, make them look a little bit heavier, give them some more like shading with the pen towards the bottom. Just make the lines a little bit extra thick towards the bottom right here and everything like that kind of thing. I think that might be something I do. And that's something I feel like I've done before, but I can't remember. Let's go ahead and just go over the eyes one more time for all of these guys. Then I'm going to go through the noses, and then I'm going to go ahead and do the mouths, and then I'm going to go ahead and just add any extra details that I feel like need to be added. And there we go. That is the drawing, I think. I think that's all done. Yeah, no complaints on my behalf. I think I'm going to leave it at that. With a lot of these drawings I do, I put like a little dot right here, and then I like write like you or something like that. I want to leave it as is, though. I really do want to leave it as is. This has turned out perfectly. Oh, I knocked my chair into the back of my bed. But yeah, no, I'm really happy with this. It's definitely less of a blotchy look than the fish I've done previously in the same style, but it's just blotchy enough to be perfect, and I feel like it works. Like, I don't think I would like this nearly as much if I had left the blotchy areas on like this one. Like, this one still has some blotch, but it's much more low-key. Like some heavy blotch sort of edges and everything, whereas this blotchy is like kind of smoother. I'm a really big fan of the blotchy look. I really do like it, and overall, I am very, very, very happy with how this drawing right here, with how this watercolor painting, where I try to draw where I try to watercolor paint a bunch of really tall monsters, I'm really happy with how it's turned out. No complaints on my behalf. I don't really think I have too much else to say. I'm just finishing up some other details with where some lines are thinner and everything like that kind of thing with the heads. Just fixing that stuff up, but I don't really see anything that's too major. I'm just fixing some stuff up for the moment, just like that. I think that is all good. And yeah, I think that's all good. I don't think there's anything else I need to do. So as such, I'm going to go ahead and end this video right here. I certainly hope you guys have enjoyed watching this video. If you guys have enjoyed watching this video, of course, please make sure to, well, of course, like, subscribe. I have my Instagram, my book, my merch, my P.O. Box, and my main channel, all in the description down below as well. And of course, if you guys have any constructive criticism for this drawing or any watercolor painting tips for the future, please let me know in the comments down below. But yeah, I think that's just about all I had to say. So as such, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and end the video right here. Once again, guys, thank you very much for watching. Until the next one, stay safe and peace and have a great one. Yes, sir, you know what I'm saying, And man, I ain't gonna lie, I am so damn happy with how this has turned out. Until the next one, y'all, stay safe and peace and have a great one. Yes, sir, you know what I'm saying.